Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Is anyone here for the first time? Okay, nearly everyone. Very good. Is this microphone working? Yeah. Yes. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. So my name is Kesava. I'm the manager here at Hare Krishna Valley, and this is our retreat center. We have 200 acres situated here in the Otway Ranges, which is it's a beautiful piece of property. And we hold retreats here on a regular basis. Of course, at the moment, it's a little stop and start with the COVID situation, but that's just the way it is at the moment. We also have an Ahimsa Dairy, which means we have 23 cows and bulls, which you can meet after lunch if you'd like to come and visit them with us. And this is a place where the animals are born and they die, and in between they don't have to worry about tension or persecution. In other words, the animals can live their whole life here. Everything here is sacred, everything here is protected. And we're trying to be an example to the world to show them how we can live like this. You can live in a harmonious environment with other animals, with other human beings, and there doesn't have to be any fear of exploitation. And actually the way the world is right at the moment, and all the problems we have in the world, is because of this one problem, exploitation. Because in China, apparently, this whole COVID pandemic began in Wuhan, apparently, because the animals were being exploited by the humans, and then diseases came up. And this is what we're told. We're not sure. We hear 20 different versions of how it all started. I'm just going with the most simplistic one. But the point is that either way, it's exploitation. And now, because of that, we have a big problem in the world, and we have many other problems in the world. So here at Hare Krishna Valley, we try to set an example of how to live an alternate lifestyle, a positive lifestyle, where we don't have to have so many problems. We can live here harmoniously with our animals. You can live here harmoniously with people. And there's a different atmosphere here. I don't know if you felt that when you arrived here. Some people say they feel like there's a different atmosphere here. Is that true? Anyone feel like that?
I would say vibe. Vibe?
Yeah, different vibe. Yeah, you feel like there's a different vibe here?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people feel that? Yeah. So there's a different vibration here. Why is that? Because we live differently. We don't follow the masses. Because you look at the modern civilization, it's not really on course. There's a little bit of a deviation which is taking place. Does that sound accurate? Does that sound realistic? I mean, how would you, if I ask you, how would you describe, in one word, modern civilization at this point in time? Anyone?
Chaos.
What's that?
Chaos.
Chaos? I knew someone was going to say that. We get that word every time. Any other words?
Lost.
What's that?
Lost.
Lost? Very good. Yeah. Lost, chaos. Anything else? Any other positive words we can throw into them?
Scientific.
What's that?
Scientific.
Scientific, yeah. It's all based on science. That's doing the world wonders of good. Yep. Anything else? But we get the drift, right? It's lost, it's chaos, it's like that. So it doesn't need to be like that. Just like here at Hare Krishna Valley, we're not lost. It's not chaotic. And what was the other one, man? Science. Yeah. It's not all based on science. It's based on nature, actually. We don't have to live exactly the way other people are living. So we live a different way here. There's a different vibration. So we try to set an example. Just like in our front sign, when you come in, it says Hare Krishna Valley. And what does it say underneath? What's our subheading? If you can remember, you get a free dessert.
Simple living, high thinking.
Very good. Yeah. It actually specifically says natural living, high thinking. But yeah, that's it. Simple living, natural living means that. So live naturally, live simply, and think about higher things. What is the motto of modern society? Yeah, more. Yeah, it's all consumeristic. Yeah, in other words, it's simple thinking and high living. Right? Just accumulate as much as you can, right? And then at the end of your life, you can leave a rich corpse. That's basically the philosophy of the modern era. Just like Will Smith said, you work hard all week to impress people that you don't like. No, sorry, I'll start again. You work hard all week to buy things that you don't need, to impress people that you don't like. That's modern civilization in a nutshell. A very successful philosophy. So here at Hare Krishna Valley, we're trying to teach something different. So just before, we entered into some mantra meditation. So the mantra meditation, this mantra, does anyone know this word, mantra? Do you know what it means?
Chanting?
Yeah, it means chanting. Yep, it means chanting. Anyone else know? Any other definition of mantra? Mantra. You hear the word now. I even heard it on the radio the other day. Someone said mantra. I was quite surprised. It's become like a mainstream word. Literally the word means man, means the mind, and tra means to release. So a mantra is a sound vibration which releases your mind from materialistic concepts. It makes you enlightened. So that's why we do the chanting. That's why we're called the Hare Krishnas, because we do this chanting all the time. So by doing the chanting, it helps to release the mind of material concepts and take us to a higher level of consciousness, so that we can become much more enlightened than what we are now. So these are the things we teach here. How to live simply, how to look after animals. We're pure vegetarian, pure vegan. We chant our mantra, and we perform Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means the yoga of devotion. So we see Krishna, we see God as a pure spiritual person. You've seen all the pictures around the room. You see Krishna, he's the bluish cowherd boy, who looks like he was in the movie Avatar. The movie Avatar actually got it from us, because James Cameron, who was the director and producer of Avatar, he actually reads these books, these ancient books like Bhagavad Gita and so forth. He's also a vegan. He's making Avatar 2 and 3 at the moment, and no one on the set is allowed to eat meat while they're making the movie. That's how he's quite an enlightened person, James Cameron. So that's why he chose blue, and he got that off us. He got it off Krishna. So that's how we see God. God is a bluish cowherd boy who is an enlightened being. You see in all the pictures, Krishna is with cows, right, living in a natural situation, and teaching us that that's how we should live as well, right? Instead of living the way we live here, which is very materialistic. So we brought this Hare Krishna Valley about how long is it now? It's like 34 years or something. About 34 years ago we brought this place. And when we first brought it, this was actually a school. We had a school for our kids. So we ran this school for 7 years. It was a primary school. And your parents were involved years ago. You didn't actually go to the school here. You came out. Your sister was born in Geelong, yeah, while they were living here. I think so. Yeah, so we ran a school here, a Hare Krishna school for our kids for 7 years. And then the school was closed. The government was trying to merge small schools, and we didn't have enough numbers to keep up the government assistance. So all of our community who were here, they moved to our other farm, which is in Byron Bay. It's in Mawalumba, which is just behind Byron Bay. And we have 800 acres there, and our school's been running there for about 40 years. And we have about 40 kids there, I think, in the school. It's still running. It's been running there for 40 years. So this place was very quiet for about 10 years. And then I came here 10 years ago with some of my friends, and then we started running it as a retreat centre. So we turned it from a school into a retreat centre, and now we run retreats for spiritually, to help spiritually enlightened society. So what I'll do, I'll ask if anyone has any questions about anything you'd like to know, about what we do, our lifestyle, our philosophy, our beliefs, what we do, or anything you want to know at all about us, or about, you can just ask a question about anything, about life, the universe, everything. We have answers for these things, so if you have anything you'd like to know.
You want your questions?
Yeah, but not today. Any other questions? Anyone else?
causes pain?
What causes pain? Yeah, what sort of pain?
Emotional pain.
Emotional pain. What causes emotional pain? Okay, yeah.
According to like the Hare Krishna philosophy.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. What causes emotional pain? That's good. So the emotions are tied into two places. Emotions are tied into this area, the heart, because that's where the soul is. Right? Our soul, who we actually are, is situated in this area of the body. That's why we feel from here. Like, you know, when you feel heartache, you feel like, you know, even they have the word heartache, you know, so you feel things from here. But it's also connected to the mind, which is here. The mind is situated in this area, around the brain. And when you feel pain, emotional pain, you also feel it up here sometimes. You see, when someone's upset, you know, sometimes they grab their head like this, you know, they're too tense. So it works in both areas, the heart-mind. We call this the heart-mind connection. So what causes pain is when, basically, when you don't get what you want. That's what causes pain. Because you want something and you don't get it, and then you call that experience of not getting what you want pain. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what we teach in the ancient philosophy of Krishna consciousness, this ancient Vedic philosophy, is to purify your desires. Because everyone in this world has desires. Right? We all desire things. We all want something. Right? Like, you came here today, so why did you come here? Because you wanted something. Right? You want enlightenment, or you want a nice experience, or you want to be with happy people, or whatever it is, or you just like the food, or whatever it is. Or you like hanging out with cows, or, you know, there's so many reasons why you might have came here. Or, yeah, whatever the reason is. So we all have desires. Right? Now, when our desires do not get fulfilled, that causes pain. So that's where pain, to answer your question, that's where pain comes from. So what we teach in our ancient teachings is to purify your desires. Don't desire materialistic things, because it's guaranteed materialistic things will cause you pain and suffering. That's guaranteed. Does that sound like a reasonable statement? Yeah, everyone's had that experience. Anyone had that experience? Material things or material relationships gave you pain and suffering? Anyone? No one? No one? Okay. No, we did. All of us. Yeah, we feel pain. We get disappointed because the nature of this world, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Have you heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Hands up if you heard of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, quite a few. Some people have. This is our main book. It's kind of like our main book of philosophy, which our teachings are based on, from ancient India. It's spoken by Krishna himself. We have copies in the shop, so if you want to get a copy and read it, then we recommend it. So, Krishna explains within the Bhagavad Gita that everything you experience in this material world, because there are two worlds, which I think most of us haven't understand. There's two worlds. There's this world we're in now, which is the material world, and there's another world, which is the spiritual world, or people call it different names, heaven, or whatever you want to call it. We call it Vaikuntha, or Goloka. We have different names for it. There's another world. So there's a different set of rules up there. There's no suffering up there. But when our soul, who originally was in that world, we decided to come to this world, there's certain conditions when you enter into this world, because it's a material world. We're spiritual, but the soul is entering into a material atmosphere now. And a material atmosphere acts differently to a spiritual atmosphere. So in this world, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, there is sukha dukkha. Sukha dukkha means happiness and distress. So it's guaranteed, if you're happy in this world, what does that mean?
Distress will come.
Distress will come, yeah. Because nothing is permanent in this world. Right? If you're happy, it's guaranteed distress is coming. And if you're distressed, it's guaranteed happiness is coming. So we don't get so hung up on these things. Now, if you're, as a soul, if you're identifying with this mind and this body and everything, this package that we find ourselves in, at this point in time, If you're too much identifying with that, then you have to experience the apparent happiness and distress which goes along with this world. So as long as you're here, then you'll have desires. For example, you may have a desire to have a particular relationship. Have you ever been attracted to boys before? Yeah, so you got a boyfriend, right? Boyfriend or husband or boyfriend, I think. So it's your boyfriend, right?
Boyfriend.
So yeah, so we've all had these relationships. You know, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, we all had these things. Now, have you experienced happiness in those relationships? Yeah, have you experienced distress in those relationships? Yeah, right. Because that's the nature, because we're focusing on material relationships. They're not spiritual. They're material. Right? There might be some spirituality in it, but primarily they're material. As long as you have material desires, and you try to fulfill those material desires in material relationships or objects, you will get happiness and distress. Whereas what we teach is to aim your desires to spiritual objects or spiritual relationships, or primarily with Krishna, with God. And then by having that relationship, that doesn't fluctuate. That just becomes more and more blissful. Because he will not let you down. He's a little bit different to other people. So we teach people to purify the desire, and then the pain goes away. Otherwise, as long as you're in this world, you have to have pain. You cannot avoid it. Right? As long as you're attached to material things or material relationships, there will be pain. So where does pain come from? It comes from material relationships, material attachments, material desires. Does that make sense? Would you like to add anything more? Answer's okay? I can keep my job? For now.
For now.
We'll see what the next answer's like. That one was okay. But that's what, yeah.
Do you feel like someone can embody the philosophy of Hare Krishna while living in a city? And what would that lifestyle look like as sort of merging together?
No, it's impossible to be Krishna conscious in a city. Impossible. Next question. No, I was joking. No, it's possible. Most of our members live in the city. In Victoria, I think we have like about 10,000 initiated members, like people who are like really into it. There's probably hundreds or thousands more who are, just interested or like it, or but there's about 10,000 of us who are like really into it.
Do you see it more of a state of mind or as a lifestyle?
It's
Or
both.
both?
Both, yeah. But most of those 10,000 members are living in the city or in the suburbs, or I'm just fortunate I live out here. So it's like and there are advantages to living out here and practicing this lifestyle and philosophy out here. But there's also challenges. It's like everything. There's things out here which are difficult and challenging, and same as in the city, there's challenges. So it's not restricted by time and place. You can practice anywhere. I can sit down and do the chanting anywhere. So what would it look like in the city? It just means you would do the same things that we do here. We have what we call a morning program. We get up early in the morning. We generally get up around about 4 in the morning, 4 to 5, something like that. And we get into our meditation practices, our chanting at that time. So if you're living in the city, I lived in the city for many years, so you just get up in the morning. If you're close to the temple, you go to the temple. Otherwise, you do it in your own home. You read these ancient books. You can read that in the city, or you can read it out here. The point is, you should be reading something spiritual. You should be enlightening yourself. Just like now, Tarini's offering the food that we eat. We offer that to Krishna first. We spiritualize our food. We don't just cook it for ourselves. We never eat anything until it's first offered to Krishna, to God. So now that's what Tarini's doing. That's why that's there. Krishna's eating now. God's eating now. So we do all these spiritual things. You can do that in Torquay or Janjak or Montana or wherever you want. You can do it anywhere. So basically the practices and the lifestyle, it's the same wherever we are in the world. Wherever we are, we just get up early. We do the same thing in the morning. Like that, we live the same philosophy. Of course, living out somewhere like here, as I said, has its challenges, but it's also there's a lot less distractions. you know, we all know. I mean, everyone, as soon as you get here, everyone gets out of the car and goes, "Oh, it's so nice." Like, you know, so it's conducive to that lifestyle. Whereas, you know, if you have to get up in the morning and, you know, go to work, sometimes you have to leave by 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Obviously, that's challenging, you know, and to live in that environment, and then you walk outside and your neighbour's doing something crazy, and, you know, it's like that. I remember years ago I lived in Albert Park. Our main temple in Melbourne's in Albert Park. We have a beautiful temple there. And I lived just behind the temple for many years, and I got up one morning, about 4 in the morning, so 4:30 I was going down to the temple, and my neighbour pulled up in a taxi at 4:30 in the morning, just coming home from wherever he'd been. So he got out of the car and he's inebriated, intoxicated. He gets out and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to the temple." I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm going to sleep." And then he looks at me and goes, "You're crazy." And I looked at him and I just said, I didn't say anything, but he knew what I was thinking. So, you know, we became friends over time. But it's like, you know, what's night for one person is daytime for another person. What's daytime for another person's nighttime. That's spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. So the more spiritual you become, the less you become attracted and interested in material things, a material lifestyle. You know, I joined the Hare Krishna movement when I was 19. I lived as a monk for 8 years. I didn't even know when presidents of America changed. You know, big things in the world, I didn't even know. I was just so spiritually absorbed in being a monk and being spiritual. So when you become more spiritual, you just become less interested in the material things in life, because, you know, we already said, we asked how is society going, everyone said chaotic and lost. So that's why I became a Hare Krishna when I was 19, because I thought, I'm not going to live mainstream. Like, where's society going? I'm supposed to follow that, you know. It's like, what's the goal of life? Who wins the great AFL grand final every year? It's got, for a lot of people, that's like the goal. That's like the summit, the pinnacle, you know. And if you're a Collingwood supporter, I remember, you know, Collingwood got into the grand final a number of years ago and they lost. And this guy I knew, he said, "Oh, I can't cope." It's like, you know, he said, "It's going to take me 6 months to recover." It's like, where's your life at? People, that's how they are. That's how they are. You know, it's like, yeah, Collingwood or whatever. Just everyone, we're spiritual by nature, we're the soul, and our consciousness is not supposed to be absorbed in material things. But unfortunately, many people are. And this society is, as a whole, it's absorbed in material things. That's why we have all the problems. You know, why is COVID there? Because people are too absorbed in material things. Like, you know, whether or not it came from the animals in Wuhan or not, or came from the lab, or, you know, they're all topics of discussion. We may or may not ever know how it actually started there. But the point is, you know, there is a place called Wuhan. They do have these wet markets. They are eating crazy things in those markets. And a society keeps living like that, how's it ever going to be peaceful? You know, we can't inflict as much violence as we inflict on the animal kingdom, innocent animals, and expect humans to live peacefully in the world. It's not possible. Put 2 and 2 together, it doesn't work. There's something called karma, which most people believe in now. Yeah, even my grandmother, when she passed away a few years ago, she was 89, and I was sitting with her in the last 6 months before she passed away, and she said to me, "Oh, that's my karma." And I was like, "Really?" Like, you know, when I joined the Hare Krishna movement 30 years ago, she would never have said that. You know, but now practically everyone believes in karma. You know, just that it's part of life. Like, we all understand that law. So we have to take responsibility the way we live in this world. We can't just keep doing whatever we want and expect the whole thing to be peaceful. You know, everyone wants peace, they want world peace, but they're not living for world peace. You know, what we teach here is teaching people how to live for world peace. So you have to change. It doesn't matter where you live, it's how you live that's important. Shall I add anything?
No, I think that's right. The only thing I would have thought is when you talk about moving away from material things to become more spiritual, that you lose interest in more material things. And I guess with me, I think about moving away from things like you talk about politics, where I think it would be great to have more spiritual people in politics to help guide our nation towards living a life that is focus more around kindness and less harm to the world. So do you ever worry that as you become more spiritual that you then moving away from politics, which can be influential to reaching that goal?
We just follow wherever the opportunities lie, right? So whoever's interested in what we're teaching, that's what we focus on. So if politicians get interested in what we're teaching, we'll guide them. Prabhupada, who's the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, that's his picture there. He passed away in 1977. He's the one who brought all this to the West and spread these teachings. And, Prabhupada said that we don't even want to run the government, but we can be the advisory board. Others can run it. They want to run it, you go and run it, but we'll tell you how to run it. Because we can fix all the problems quite easily, actually. Hunger in the world, things like that, we could fix that quite easily. We could tell people what to do, how to live in order to improve the planet. So we don't need to run it, we just need to, we're happy to advise people. That's what we do, we advise. And then it's up to people if they want to follow it or not. So if politicians get interested, then, because like in India, we do have politicians who are quite highly placed in government who do follow what we teach. And there's other places in the world where people are interested. Like some of our members met Barack Obama and things like that. So, they're interested to some degree. Like that. But in other ways, they're not. So, we'll just go over wherever the people are. If people are interested, then that's where we'll go. So we don't care. We're just looking for, if it's the grassroots, just what we call the general population, right? Then we'll teach there. If politicians get in it, we'll teach there. It's just wherever. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
Do you think, like we're talking about, say, consumerism or how our society is a bad thing, and that's how I feel, but do you think that it is there for a purpose? It's actually there as part of your lessons to learn in this life? That the goal isn't to try and get rid of all of that and us all live this lovely lifestyle, that it's there for a reason.
Yeah, so the question is, basically, should we accept that this is the way it's meant to be and it's meant to teach us things?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Everything is about free will and choice. Like you chose to come here today. A free will. Well, no one forced you to come here. It's like you chose to come. So same as myself. I chose to come here today. I mean, I only live 200 meters away, so it wasn't like a... But, I come here out of choice. I live this lifestyle out of choice. So the world doesn't have to be the way it is. When we asked everyone, what's it like? Everyone's a chaotic, lost, all those things. It doesn't have to be like that, right? As you said, being like that, does it teach us things? Yes, it teaches us things. What does it primarily teach us? Change it. That's what it teaches us. And it teaches us tolerance because it is crazy at the moment and it will take time for it to adjust and to improve. So it teaches us tolerance. We have to put up with a lot. We just, you look at it, every time I look at the news, I'm just thinking, what are you guys doing? Like how, what's going on? What's in your head? What's in your heart? Like what's going on? So things can change, things need to change, and that's what we're focusing on. So it doesn't have to be the way it is, but because it is, it teaches you a lot of tolerance, because you have to be very tolerant of people. Like there's different groups in the area sometimes I get involved with, like I went to the Surf Coast Shire Council. They had it's like a think tank, so they wanted different members from the community, so they invited us to come, because we're obviously different to other people. So we came and spoke, and then we're sitting around talking. But some people, they make not that they mean to, but it's just the ignorance which prevails in society. They just make very inappropriate comments.
Yeah.
It's just, so what do? We just have to tolerate it. We can't say to them, what's wrong with you? You know, so don't you understand? You know, I'm not going to say that to them. But at the same time, we have to say to them, well, maybe we could begin to think like that. We could begin to act like that. So what we do here at Hare Krishna Valley, we say to people, you come here. Come and see how it can be different. Come and see how we live. Come and see what we've got to say. Right. And if people want to follow it or want to take to it, that's their choice. Yeah. We think it works. Yeah, that's why we recommend it. So yeah, the world doesn't have to be like it is.
No, but then you have like things like the news, the constant cycle of fear and propaganda. I personally find a struggle, the duality of, oh yes, you know, meditate, yoga, and then that's constantly streaming. How do you not like lose your mind?
Get rid of your television.
Well, yeah, we don't have it for that reason, but it's sort of...
Don't listen to it. Yeah, I clock in once a day or something just to see, you know, what's going on in crazy land.
Yeah.
Just so I can keep tabs, because I have to, because, you know, we need to know, you know, if there's lockdowns or that. Yeah, we need to know.
That's what I'm referring to. We don't have social media, we don't watch television, we have family, not whatever. But, you know, the same thing. I need to know if my kids are going to go to school, whether I'm going to work in the office or I'm working from home. So you do have to dip your toe in and then...
Yeah, so just don't dip it in too much.
Yeah.
A toe's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it gets past the ankle, then pull back.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't get too involved. Like, you know, I keep an eye on things, but I don't get involved in it. You know, because you're dealing with insanity. So, you know, what's the point? And so we just... you know, you keep tabs on what's going on in the world, but you don't let it overcome you or pollute you. And that's why we said in the beginning, you need to have, ideally, we recommend having a sadhana. A sadhana means a daily practice. So get up in the morning, you know, get focused on your spiritual stuff. And then by the time the world starts coming in, you know, then you're already in the headspace to deal with everything that takes place. Otherwise, you know, it may overwhelm you. And even if you do that, it overwhelms you. So you've got to be spiritually as powerful as you can to deal with it all.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's why we live this lifestyle, because, you know, we don't want to live the lifestyle of the modern civilization. So I rejected it years ago, over 30 years ago. I just said, nice knowing you all.
Yeah.
Just I put on robes, shaved my head, walked into an ashram. You know, my family and many of my friends were behind me saying, don't do it, don't do it. I said, anyway. So it was nice knowing you all. Yeah. Walked in, and then now, you know, so many of those old family members and so many of those old friends, you know, I've met them over the years. I went to a school reunion, it was about 20 years ago now, but it was about 15 years after we left high school. And we're all there in everyone was getting together. We hadn't seen each other for years. And at the end of the night, one of my friends, good friends from the past, he said to me, you're the happiest out of all of us. You know, when I first did it, many of them said, oh, the guy's crazy. You know, what's he doing? And then later on, they were saying, no, this is good.
Yeah.
So you just have to, don't follow the masses. You know, stay focused on what you want to stay focused on.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And then hang out with us, if you like. Because we're the sane ones, if you think we are. Some people think we're not, but we think we are. So. Any other questions? Anyone else? Everyone has attained enlightenment. So that's good. We're doing our job.
Yeah.
Tim.
I guess, sort of back on what you were saying before about your work, it represents happiness and suffering, and it's just constant sort of power play. But does God, Krishna, the universe, life, reality, does it ever stop testing us in life? Does it ever stop? Like in my personal life, it feels like once I slay one dragon, instead of like getting the girl and living happily ever after, another dragon appears. You know, like that analogy, you know, like
Yeah.
the fairy tale story, you know, you slay the dragon. That's just not an analogy, but it just seems
No,
to be
yeah, I understand your
like
point.
around the corner, there's just another bigger dragon.
Yeah.
And it just never ends.
Yeah. So the question
so
is,
there's no, where's the happily ever after? Like,
oh, where's the happily ever after? Yeah.
just constant dragons.
Yeah. Happily ever after, that's in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's in Bollywood. It's not in reality. There's no happily ever after. Because as I said in the beginning, there's two worlds. There's a spiritual world. There's another world. We're just not there right at the moment. There's another place. If you look in all those pictures, that shows you what it's like in that other world. People are dancing, they're singing, everyone's having a feast, everything's free, there's no internet, right? There's no social media, there's no iPhones. Like the whole place is, totally, there's another world we're missing out on right now. But as long as you're in this world, this material existence, this material world, you have to follow, or you're subject to the laws of this world. And what are the laws of this world? That once you slay one dragon, there's a bigger dragon around the corner. That's the way it is. And it doesn't stop.
That's just karma. Your karma. It's just
Yeah.
you're playing karma.
Yeah, it's your karma. Yeah. So yeah, you never, that's why we say to people, you know, if you practice Krishna consciousness, what we practice, even though there's crazy stuff going on around you, you feel within, you feel happy and you feel centered. You know, I'm just speaking my own experience. You know, I feel happy and centered. Even though there's stuff going on in my life, it's not like I don't have problems. I have problems. But they're material problems. They're separate from me. I still have to deal with them and, you know, they're there to a degree, but it doesn't change my deeper happiness or my deeper connection to Krishna, to God. So I just let those things, they just go on. But we don't let them control us. But if your desires, as we said before, are based on material things, then you're always going to have those problems coming. As you said, they just get bigger, they don't get smaller. You know, you think as you get older, oh, things are going to change, they don't.
You just got to learn to cope with them differently.
You've got to learn to change your desires, that's all we're saying. You know, if you want to enjoy in this world, then you have to live by the laws of this world. Right? So we say, oh, I want to enjoy, I want to be happy in this world. Okay, if that's going to be your desire, like as you said, you know, get the girl, get the money, get the house, be happy, all those things. It doesn't work like that, because that's a material desire. So, okay, you can get all those things, but it's like, it's like you get a present or a box or something. So you work hard to finally attain this treasure, this box. But as soon as you open it up, there's a whole lot of problems inside of it. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. I was just using the fairy tale analogy, but I understand the detachment from material desires, but just, I guess just, day-to-day living and what we were talking about before, like with the news and just being saturated with the chaos and negativity, you really just have to detach.
No, you have to, like I'm saying, you have to change your desires. Like, I'll give myself as an example, right? So I got up this morning, I knew you guys were coming, right? This was like 25 people or something. This is a small one. This is the smallest one we've had for months, right? Because it's crazy out there. It's hard for people to book to know if they can come. No one from Melbourne could come. So anyway, but I knew that all you guys are coming. So what's my desire today? To give you the most fulfilling and rich experience that I can while you're here with us, right? That's my desire. I could have chosen to do something else in my life today. I could have gone anywhere. I could have done something else. I could have gone to the beer fest or the football match, go and see the Cats play or whatever. So many things I could have chosen to do. But what's my desire? My desire is to enlighten humanity. That's my desire. So when you change that, your life changes. Right? Because that becomes the overwhelming force within your life. You get so much happiness and satisfaction from that. So even when all the material stuff on the periphery is happening, it doesn't overwhelm you. Right? But you get up in the morning, I'm just saying, not just you, but most people get up in the morning. But what do they think? Oh, it's about me. What am I going to get out of it? What am I going to do today? What am I going to... I don't live like that. I don't live for me. I live to enlighten others. Right? So when you start doing that, you'll see like your life will change and you become so much more deeply satisfied.
And I've always lived like that. I haven't been attached to the material world, but I find that living like that can be damaging because you can try to enlighten others and change the world and help others, but the people have walls up. People aren't as open as the people in this room. Everyone's set in their ways, and it's
one thing you don't have at this point in time is a guru, right? And that's a major impediment. You need guru. You need guru. I've had a guru for 30 years. Right? When you have a guru, or gurus, people who can guide you spiritually, they can guide you how to live and how to use your energy to the best of your ability, like that. So you need to take those further steps, right? Otherwise, because like you said, you're getting up and you're trying to enlighten people and all that. But if you had people who could guide you how to do that, you'll be so much more effective and you'll be so much more satisfied. Because you say, well, you're getting frustrated from it. I'm not frustrated. Yeah, well, I've got all these people turned up. I'm not frustrated. I'd like to have 100 more here today, but the way the world is at the moment, then that's difficult.
Come down to expectations then, because like basically you're trying to enlighten people and they're not listening to you, so then that's your expectation of them really is what's causing your frustration, because
Your ego.
that's
That's really your ego, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like today, right? So
ego,
ego's a big thing.
yeah, ego's a big thing. So today I invited all you here to come, right? You all came and you're all listening to me, so I'm satisfied. Now when you leave, what you do, that's up to you. But I've done my part, so I'm fulfilled, right? And then if some of you get take something away from this and it improves your life, and then you become more spiritually enlightened yourself, then wonderful. Then I've done I feel very fulfilled. I've had people in the last 12 months who have come here to stay with us, and people I've met, and they've told me, you've changed our life. You've changed my life. What? That's it. I'm totally fulfilled. Completely fulfilled. Right? Because I'm doing that for people. Right? It's not me doing it. I'm just like the carrier of ancient knowledge. Right? But because I'm doing that service for you, I feel totally fulfilled. Right? But if you're not doing that, then you'll wake up in the morning, you'll feel incomplete, you'll feel depressed and all these problems. That's because you're not hooked in sufficiently enough yet to being a channel for higher power or higher cause. So you have to consider these things in your own journey. And then you won't have that incompleteness, which is there. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah. It's just the discipline, I guess. Like when you step back into the Western, the world, real world, the city, it's like then you're just saturated with all the chaos, and it's very seductive to lure you off course and off the beaten track and fall off your boat.
Yeah, because you're hanging with the wrong people.
Yeah.
You're hanging with the wrong people. Everything is about association.
Yeah.
Right. So if you get a crystal, like if you see a chandelier.
Yeah.
So if there's a crystal hanging from the chandelier and the light's reflecting through, so if I'm here, I'll see like a reddish reflection because it's capturing the part of the light it's capturing is showing like a red reflection. And if I move around a few feet at a different angle, I see blue coming from the crystal, and then I see green coming from the crystal. So whatever you associate with, that's what you become. So if you hang out with people like us, what are you going to become? Spiritually enlightened. You say you go back out there. If you choose to hang out with the people out there, right? If you're going to hang out with UFC, focused people all the time, what are you going to be? You're just going to be like a UFC fanatic. Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's not a bad thing. Some people think it's ridiculous. Other people think it's amazing. But it's not terribly enlightening. If you look at Joe Rogan as an example, because I know you listen to Joe, and sometimes I listen to Joe. there's definitely certain things he's worked out in his life. There's a lot that I can see he hasn't worked out as yet.
Mm.
You know, but if you're going to hang with him all the time, like you're just listening, that's your main feed all the time.
Mm.
You know, you're only going to go as far. You can only go as far as the teacher who's leading you. That's the point.
That's so true.
Right?
Yeah, we've come to this realisation. It's the association, the people around
Yeah.
you. Your reflection of those you hang with, I guess.
So, have you listened to that podcast, Wisdom of the Sages? I think I told you about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Wisdom of the Sages. Start listening to that podcast. That's far out. Yeah, the guys are in that podcast. Like, Raghunath was on Joe Rogan. He was the yogi guy.
Yeah, I've watched that one.
Yeah, so he runs the podcast. So it's a spiritual podcast. And it's taken off all over the world. It's, you know, these people are enlightened, right? So they will take you to a higher place. So we just got to choose. We're all going to listen to podcasts. We're all going to listen to things.
Mm.
So choose who you want to listen to, right? Because that's gonna shape your consciousness. That's all. Someone else, yeah.
Just on that, like, if you are in a workplace, for example, I often feel like the black sheep, and when I'm talking to people, it's like, wow, I'm 15, 20 years younger than half the people I work with.
Yep.
But my head's on a different level, and when I do find those people, I'm like, wow, you have amazing conversations, and you just feel like it's really real. But being forced to go somewhere every day where you have to work, and the people aren't your people, it's hard, and like I don't know how to detach from that. Like with my own friends, I'm fine, I live a really peaceful life, but yeah, when you have to turn up somewhere every day that, yeah, it's just hard to navigate.
Yeah, so Prabhupada, who's the founder of our movement, he said that we should get together with others who are like ourselves, like us, and we should form, I suppose you say businesses or workplaces where we can all do the same thing, right? So, we can open vegan, vegetarian restaurants, which offer spiritual food to people like that. We can all get there and do stuff like that. My good friend Mark's a great cook, so we can get in, and Paul's a good cook as well. So we can, I'm just saying it's a possibility. Like if we get together and we think like that, there are ways that we could organise things to make that happen. Because it's the same for everyone at the moment. You have to turn up at workplaces to work with people you don't like, who are unenlightened, and that's how you're spending your time. And it's so many people are in that compromised situation. So it's a challenge for people like ourselves who are a little more enlightened to get together and to work out how we can do things, so we can run things together, so that we can live a more enlightened existence.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge. It's hard work for all of us. I mean, I'm fortunate because I get to live, in a place like this where it is more spiritually focused. That's good fortune. But we have to create more and more of those opportunities. And if we all work together, we can do those things. You had a question?
Where would you use the Sunday piece, inside or outside?
That's a very important question. I think I saw them taking the plates inside, so I think we're going to serve inside, and then you can eat inside or you can eat outside. That's up to you.
Okay.
Like that. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Any further questions? No. Any other questions? We've got time for a few more, so if anyone has anything you'd like to.
I was going to say, how does one overcome material barriers in spiritual life?
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Well, spiritual life is about, I guess, moving away from that materialistic side of things, but there's always going to be those material barriers or things that are going to distract you from that. So how does one, I guess, keep themselves more focused on the spiritual side of things, or try to alleviate themselves from the material nonsense that's going on in the world?
As you become more spiritually pure yourself and more enlightened yourself, it affects you less. I remember when I was a young monk and I first began to practice this path, I moved into the ashram and I began to practice the spiritual path. I'd feel a great deal of temptation when I would go out into the material world, because I was just from that atmosphere. And then I'd go back out into it and I'd feel, oh, it's so distracting and so alluring, and I'd feel like that. I don't feel like that anymore. Because I've been practicing for so long that the more deep you get into your practice and your spirituality, then those material things dissipate. So it means desires which are in your consciousness, that's what you have to purify. So when you like I said before, if you overwhelm your consciousness with pure spiritual desires, right, then even when you're in a material atmosphere, you just see it for what it is. Just like Prabhupada, who's the founder of our movement, he travelled around the world around about 14 times, to different countries to open centres and to spread these teachings. So he would be in airports a lot of the time, travelling. So when you're in an airport, everyone's absorbed in airport consciousness. Right? You know what airport consciousness is like. You're going somewhere, so you feel special. So you go and buy like a Gucci bag. Because you're in an airport, so you want to feel a bit special, and you spend a bit of money. And I'm going somewhere. I can do something. I'm someone. So that's kind of when you go into an airport. That's the mood. The people are like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I mean, it was especially more in the past. Now it's like it's cheaper to fly to Sydney than to drive to Sydney. So it's like now we do it so much, but in the past it was more like when you're in an airport, everyone's kind of in this mood. So they said to Prabhupada, what do you see when you're in this atmosphere? Prabhupada said, I see flapping dead bodies. In other words, there's no life there. Right? There's no like deep spiritual consciousness. Everyone's just kind of going around just doing their thing. It's almost like just an unspiritual atmosphere. So the more spiritually enlightened you become, then the less these things affect you and you see things differently. Is that okay?
I guess to expand on that then, how does one go towards or try and become more spiritually enlightened?
By sadhana. Sadhana means practice. So get up in the morning and practice. You know what the practices are because you've been coming in for a period of time, so practice. It's like anything. It's like, if you want to become fit, you have to practice. You can't say, I want to become fit, do something. You have to put some energy into it. Same way, if you want to become spiritually enlightened, you have to practice. There are practices that we perform, that we do on a daily basis, which lead us towards that. So if you put in the effort, then that's what you will become. If you don't put the effort in, then what can be done? Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I add that there might be something just before that, which is the inspiration? I find to do practice I need a lot of inspiration, whereas I just can't do it. I can't even get out of bed in the morning. So I need to first get the inspiration. So how to get that inspiration? Like personally, I just listen to as many classes. There's classes everywhere online, especially Prabhupada classes. Feed them into the brain, feed the classes in, and then the inspiration comes, and then you find that you can actually do it. And then you can start. Your sadhana helps you. So maybe there's some idea on how to get inspired more innately. It doesn't take so much effort.
Yeah, well, I think what you just said.
Yeah.
It's sangha. Sangha means association.
Sangha. Yeah.
It's association.
Yeah.
So you're listening, as you said. Like, there's podcasts that you can listen to now. So many spiritual podcasts.
You just have to saturate yourself.
Yeah, saturate yourself, Yeah, I listen every day. I'm listening, some days I probably listen up to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Spiritual enlightened people like speaking about spirit to give myself inspiration. On a bad day I probably only listen half an hour or something like that. So at least something should be there.
Yeah.
And then you feel it's spiritually enlightened.
And I find if you don't, then you kind of drift away. You can drift away and your inspiration just drops out.
Becomes challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to keep the association.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to put fuel in the tank. Otherwise it stops. That's good. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all for coming. Very nice to have you all here. We're going to have, we'll serve lunch just in the next room. So we can just go in there and then you can either eat inside or outside, wherever you prefer. And then in about 45 minutes after lunch, then we'll go over and see the cows. So if you'd like to come with us, just gather around here and then we'll go over and we'll see our spiritual cows. We have a free magazine, which is here, just up here. So if you want a free magazine, that tells you more about what we do, our lifestyle and so forth. I'm also starting on Wednesday night. I'm starting an online training boot camp, which some people have been signing up for. So if you're interested in that, just go on our Facebook page. And if you're interested to upgrade your life in various ways, this is not just going to be just spirituality. It's just going to be how to make your relationships more successful, how to be more emotionally balanced, how to physically live in an optimal level, how to live a more abundant life, and then spirituality will also be a part of it. So that you can see on our Facebook page if you want to sign up for that. That'll begin on Wednesday night as well. So thank you all for coming. Please come again. If you're hungry, please go to the next room. If you're not hungry, then we'll see you next time.